How to think like highly successful people. Unlocking the mindset, habits, and strategies of top performers. Introduction. If you've ever wondered what makes highly successful people think, act, and win so differently, you're about to find out. Welcome to How to Think Like Highly Successful People, your roadmap to mastering the most powerful tool you have, your mind. If you're listening on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more life-changing audiobooks like this. That's how you'll get access to more powerful audiobooks like this, all focused on mindset, money, and motivation. Alright, let's dive in. What to expect. This isn't your typical motivational fluff. In the next 120 minutes, you'll learn how highly successful people actually think, not just what they do. We'll break down the core mindsets, mental habits, and thought patterns that drive their results in business, relationships, and life. Because here's the truth. Success is never just about hard work or luck. It's about how you think, what you focus on, and the internal stories you believe. Why mindset matters most. Average people think in terms of fear, limitation, and comfort. Highly successful people think in terms of vision, leverage, impact, and execution. They don't wait for motivation. They build systems. They don't complain about what they can't control. They focus on what they can. And it all starts with one shift, your mindset. That's the invisible force that drives every decision, every emotion, every dollar earned or lost. The science of thinking success. This audiobook isn't just philosophy. It's rooted in neuroscience and cognitive psychology. Did you know that over 90% of your thoughts today are the same as yesterday? That's why change doesn't happen by accident. Your brain runs on habits, and your thinking patterns are mental habits. What we'll do together is interrupt the old loops, install new ones, and help you start thinking like the top 1%, on command. You'll learn how to reframe failure, how to think long-term, how to eliminate mental clutter, how to focus like a laser, how to develop what we call legacy-level thinking. Who this audiobook is for. Whether you're an entrepreneur building your business, a professional climbing the ladder, a student dreaming big, or someone stuck in a rut looking for more, this audiobook is for you. It doesn't matter where you're starting. What matters is that you're ready to level up your internal operating system. Because once your thinking upgrades, your entire life follows. The journey ahead. Each chapter in this audiobook builds on the last. We'll start with the basics: clarity, focus, resilience, and move all the way to advanced thinking models like decision leverage, emotional mastery, and visionary leadership. And at the end, you'll have a powerful mental toolkit to help you think smarter, act bolder, and succeed faster. This is your mental transformation plan, designed not just to inspire you, but to rewire you. So again, hit that subscribe button, share this with someone hungry for growth, and let's get started. Because success is not a secret. It's a system. And today, you're stepping into it. Chapter 1: The Success Mindset Blueprint. If you want to achieve what 99% of people never will, you must first learn to think like the 1% does. And it begins with a blueprint, a mental foundation, built not on talent or luck, but on mindset. Let's break it down. Fixed versus growth mindset. Based on the research of Dr. Carol Dweck. According to Dweck, there are two core mindsets that shape how people experience success, or sabotage it. 1. Fixed mindset. People with this mindset believe their intelligence, talents, and abilities are set in stone. I'm just not good at math. I'm not a creative person. I'm not a natural entrepreneur. This type of thinking creates limitation. It turns every challenge into a threat. Every failure into proof of inadequacy. Every risk into something to avoid. 2. Growth mindset. Highly successful people, on the other hand, believe that abilities are developed, not predetermined. I can learn how to do this. I've never done it, but I'll figure it out. With the right strategy, I can improve anything. This mindset leads to resilience, experimentation, and action, 3 non-negotiables on the road to success. Here's the truth. Successful people don't win because they're the best. They win because they believe they can get better, and they put in the work to prove it. Thinking in possibilities, not problems. Highly successful people don't focus on why it won't work. They focus on how it could. Average thinkers say, "That's too risky. What if I fail? I don't know where to start." Success thinkers ask, "What's one way I can test this? Who has done this before, and how did they do it? What's the best case scenario if it works?" They mentally live in the solution, not the problem. It's not blind optimism, it's strategic thinking. Instead of shrinking in the face of obstacles, they expand their thinking to create options, systems, and action steps. The bigger your thinking, the bigger your life becomes. Self-image and internal dialogue. Here's a powerful truth most people overlook. You can't outperform your self-image. If deep down, you don't believe you deserve wealth, success, recognition, or impact, you'll subconsciously self-sabotage every time you get close. Success thinkers are intentional about how they talk to themselves. They shape their internal dialogue with precision. They don't say, "I hope this works." They say, "I'll find a way to make this work. I have everything I need to begin. This is difficult, but I am capable." And over time, their internal words reshape their external reality. Talk to yourself like someone you believe in. Because if you want the world to see you as powerful, you must believe it first. Reframing failure as feedback. This might be the most powerful mindset shift of all. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's the fuel. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than the average person has even tried. But here's the difference. They don't take failure personally. They take it professionally. They study it. They ask what went wrong. They course correct. Because failure isn't an identity, it's information. Each failed launch, each rejection, each no sale, is data. And with the right mindset, data becomes direction. Success thinkers don't say, "I failed. I'm not good at this." They say, "That didn't work. What can I do better next time?" It's a subtle shift. But it's the difference between giving up and growing up. Takeaway. Build the blueprint, live the results. Let's recap. To think like highly successful people. Embrace a growth mindset, progress over perfection. Train your brain to see possibility, not just obstacles. Cultivate a powerful self-image and speak to yourself with intention. Turn failures into feedback, and feedback into fuel. Because before you become successful in the world, you must first believe it in your mind. Chapter 2: Clarity is Power. Here's a simple but profound truth. You can't hit a target you can't see. And yet, most people are walking through life with a blurry vision of what they want. They say, "I just want to be successful. I want to be rich. I want freedom." But ask them what that actually looks like, what success specifically means to them, and they freeze. Not highly successful people. They don't deal in vague wishes. They deal in clear, specific outcomes. Let's unpack the mindset of clarity. Highly successful people think with precision. Top performers don't just dream. They define. They know what they want. They know why they want it. And they're able to describe it in vivid detail. Where most people wander, they target. Where most people react, they direct. This clarity becomes their compass, helping them say yes to what moves them forward and no to what doesn't. Setting clear, specific outcomes. Instead of saying, "I want more money," successful thinkers say, "I want to earn $10,000 a month in online income by December 31st. Instead of, "I want freedom," they say, "I want to work 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, and live in Portugal by next summer." It's not magic, it's mental alignment. When your brain knows exactly what you want, it begins to filter opportunities, people, and decisions through that lens. Your reticular activating system, the brain's built-in filter, starts focusing in like a missile. It notices things you once ignored. It highlights what matters. It helps you move faster. Clarity eliminates distraction. Vision crafting exercises. So how do you gain clarity if you've been stuck in vague goals for too long? Try this simple exercise. 1. The perfect day exercise. Close your eyes and imagine your perfect day 5 years from now. Ask yourself, where are you waking up? Who are you with? What kind of work are you doing, if any? How much money is in your bank account? How does your body feel? What are you most excited about? Write this out in detail, like a movie script. Feel it. See it. Smell it. This becomes your vision map, the emotional GPS for your brain. 2. Reverse engineer the milestones. Once you know the destination, break it down into 1-year goals, 90-day outcomes, weekly targets, daily actions. This is how successful thinkers turn dreams into projects, and projects into results. The role of visualization and mental rehearsal. Here's a powerful mental hack. Your brain can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. That's why elite athletes, top performers, and ultra-successful entrepreneurs all use visualization. They see the outcome before they live it. They imagine delivering that perfect pitch, closing the high-stakes deal, crossing the finish line, signing the publishing contract, opening the new business, hearing the words, "Congratulations, you did it." This is called mental rehearsal, and it rewires your nervous system for success. The more you see it, the more you believe it. And the more you believe it, the more you act in alignment with it. Final thought: vague goals create vague lives. Highly successful people think clearly because they value their focus. They don't just hope they'll win. They see the win in advance. They build a vision so clear that it pulls them forward, even on their hardest days. So here's your challenge. Define exactly what success looks like for you. Write it. Visualize it. Speak it. And make sure it excites you enough to act. Because clarity isn't a luxury. It's a requirement. Coming up in Chapter 3, Thinking Long-Term, we'll explore how the top 1% delay gratification, build compound success, and think beyond the moment. Chapter 3, Thinking Long-Term. One of the most defining differences between average thinkers and highly successful people is this. Successful people think in years, not just days. They're not just chasing the next high. They're building something that lasts. While most people ask, "What can I get right now?" Success thinkers ask, "What am I willing to do now that will pay off for years?" This is what we call long-term thinking, and it's the foundation for lasting success. Delayed gratification and strategic patience. Let's talk about one of the hardest mental skills in the modern world. Delaying gratification. In a world of instant likes, same-day delivery, and get-rich-quick ads, choosing to wait to build, to plant seeds that take time to grow, that's rare. But that's what successful people do daily. They say no to quick dopamine hits so they can say yes to deeper fulfillment later. No to impulsive spending so they can invest. No to shortcuts so they can build real skills. They don't avoid the hard road. They master it. And that's what makes the success so sweet, because they earned it. Compounding progress and playing the long game. Here's a concept that highly successful thinkers understand better than most. Compounding. We usually hear it in finance. But it applies to your habits, your reputation, your business, your relationships, everything. When you improve just 1% a day, that doesn't lead to 365% growth in a year. It leads to over 3,700% growth. That's the power of playing the long game. Top performers know. A book a month turns into 120 books in a decade. $100 invested wisely becomes $100,000 over time. One video a week becomes an empire after 5 years. They know that doing the small, boring, consistent things today leads to massive, explosive rewards later. And they're willing to wait for the payoff. Why short-term wins don't equal long-term wealth. Let's be clear. Short-term wins are seductive. They give you a dopamine hit. They make you feel like you're doing something right. But sometimes, they're a trap. Making a quick $1,000 by burning out your reputation. Cutting corners for applause now and paying for it later. Chasing trends instead of building timeless value. Success thinkers don't just ask, "Will this work today?" They ask, "Will this still matter 5 years from now?" That's why they build brands, not just products. Nurture relationships, not just transactions. Focus on integrity, not just impression. Because they're not here to peak, they're here to sustain. Think like a farmer, not a gambler. If you want lasting success, adopt the mindset of a farmer. You plant. You water. You protect the crop. And only after time, patience, and effort, you harvest. This is how wealth is built. This is how empires are made. Not by gambling. Not by jumping from one thing to another. But by choosing the long, focused, intentional path. Because in the end, the long game always wins. Final thought: delay the win to multiply the reward. Thinking long-term isn't just about patience. It's about power. The power to control your impulses. To stay focused when others chase noise. To commit when others quit. So ask yourself, what am I doing today that my future self will thank me for? What can I build that compounds, scales, and grows over time? Highly successful people don't rush the result. They trust the process. And that trust? That mindset? It's exactly what makes them unstoppable. In the next chapter, Decision-Making Like a Leader, we'll dive into how the most successful people approach choices, prioritize effectively, and make moves with boldness and clarity. Chapter 4: Decision-Making Like a Leader. Here's something rarely talked about. Your success is a direct reflection of the quality of your decisions. Not just the big ones, like what business to start or where to invest. But the small, daily ones, what you say yes to, how you use your time, how you respond to problems. Highly successful people have mastered the art of decision-making. They move with clarity. They act with intention. And they think like leaders, because they decide like leaders. Let's dive into how they do it. Thinking in terms of consequences, not comfort. Most people make decisions based on what feels good right now. I'm tired, so I'll skip the workout. I'm afraid, so I won't take the risk. It's uncomfortable, so I'll delay it. That's comfort-based thinking. But success thinkers ask a different question. What are the long-term consequences of this decision? They zoom out. Instead of focusing on the emotional discomfort of action, they focus on the future cost of inaction. They understand. Comfort is temporary. Consequences are permanent. Growth always comes with friction. So they choose the hard now, to create the easy later. That's leadership. The 80-20 principle, Pareto thinking. The 80-20 rule says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Successful people live by this principle. They don't treat every task equally. They ask, what's the one decision that will solve 5 problems? What's the 20% of work that drives 80% of the income? What's the 20% of people who bring 80% of the value, or drama? They eliminate. They delegate. They focus. This is what we call Pareto thinking, and it's a core tool in the Success Mindset Toolkit. Decision-making becomes simpler when you stop treating every choice like it has the same weight. Speed versus accuracy in decision-making. Here's a truth most overthinkers miss. Highly successful people don't always make the perfect decision. But they always make the decision. They understand this law. Fast decisions create momentum. Slow decisions create anxiety. That doesn't mean they're reckless. It means they trust their framework, gather enough information, and then pull the trigger. They believe this. A good decision made today is better than a perfect decision made next month. Especially in business, speed is power. So they ask, what's the worst case scenario? Can I recover if I'm wrong? Will this move me forward even if it's not flawless? If the answer is yes, they decide. And they adjust as they go. Don't confuse hesitation with wisdom. The longer you delay, the more opportunity passes you by. What would a 7-figure thinker do? Here's a game-changing mental tool you can use anytime you're stuck. Ask yourself, what would a 7-figure thinker do in this situation? Not, what would my current self do? What's comfortable? What's the easy way out? But rather, what would the future version of me choose? How would someone at the top level handle this? What's the high standard move here? This forces you to rise above emotional reaction and step into strategic leadership. You literally begin to think like the person you're becoming. Remember, you don't become successful and then think differently. You think differently, and then you become successful. Final thought: leaders decide, followers delay. Let's recap the success blueprint for decision making. Think about consequences, not comfort. Apply the 80-20 rule relentlessly. Value speed with clarity over slow perfection. Ask empowering questions like, what would a 7-figure thinker do? Because in the end, your direction is shaped by your decisions. And your future depends on your ability to choose powerfully, consistently, and with purpose. Every leader you admire became that way by mastering this skill. So the next time you face a hard call, pause, breathe, and decide like the person you want to be. In Chapter 5, Radical Responsibility, we'll explore how successful people eliminate excuses, own their results, and build mental toughness through personal accountability. Chapter 5, Radical Responsibility, 8 minutes. Here's a truth that separates the average from the extraordinary. Highly successful people take full ownership of their lives. No blame. No excuses. No waiting for someone else to fix it. They understand that while you may not control everything that happens to you, you are 100% responsible for how you interpret it and what you do next. This mindset is called radical responsibility. Let's break it down. No blame. No excuses. Average thinkers say, my boss is holding me back. The market is tough right now. I didn't grow up with resources. I don't have enough time. You'll never hear top performers talk like that. Not because their lives are perfect, but because they understand this law of mindset. Excuses shrink your power. Ownership expands it. Blame feels good for a moment, but it costs you your progress. Highly successful people refuse to give away their agency. They say, I didn't prepare well enough. I didn't ask for help early enough. I underestimated the challenge. Now I know better. They don't spin stories. They own their results. Owning results, actions, and mindset. Radical responsibility isn't just about owning failures. It's about owning everything, your results, your decisions, and even your thoughts. That means, if your finances are a mess, you own it. If your body isn't where you want it to be, you own it. If your mindset is full of fear, you own it. Why? Because only what you own, you can change. Success thinkers don't outsource accountability. They internalize it. And that makes them powerful. From victim to creator. One of the greatest mindset shifts you'll ever make is this. Moving from being a victim of circumstances to becoming a creator of outcomes. Victim thinking sounds like, it's not fair. They did this to me. I can't win in this environment. Creator thinking sounds like, how can I adapt? What's still in my control? What can I build from this? The moment you stop reacting and start creating, you reclaim your power. You stop waiting. You stop complaining. And you start designing your life on purpose. This is the mindset of all high achievers, and it's available to you right now. Top performers take control internally first. Here's something few people realize. Highly successful people don't focus on controlling the external world. They focus on mastering their internal world. They understand. You can't always control people. You can't always control markets. You can't even control every emotion. But you can control your focus. your reactions, your beliefs, your discipline. That's why they invest in self-awareness. That's why they track their thoughts. That's why they ask hard questions like, how did I contribute to this? What pattern is repeating here? What belief is driving my choices? Because success is an inside job first. Final thought. Take the wheel. Radical responsibility is not about blame. It's about power. The power to decide. The power to change. The power to create something new, no matter what your past looked like. So here's your challenge. Stop pointing fingers. Start taking the wheel. Don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what will I do because it happened? Own it all, and you'll change it all. Because the person who owns the outcome owns the future. In Chapter 6, Thinking in Solutions, Not Excuses, we'll explore how highly successful people stay mentally agile, overcome obstacles, and turn every problem into a stepping stone. Chapter 6, Thinking in Solutions, Not Excuses. There's one mental habit that turns average people into high achievers. They stop focusing on the problem and start obsessing over the solution. This isn't just positive thinking. It's productive thinking. It's the ability to take a setback, a roadblock, or a no, and say, okay, what's the next move? This is how highly successful people think, and it's a skill anyone can develop. Let's break it down. Problem solving as a superpower. Most people see problems and freeze. Top performers see problems and engage. They know success is not about avoiding problems, it's about solving them faster, smarter, and with less emotional friction. Every business exists to solve a problem. Every invention, every breakthrough, every opportunity begins with one question. What's broken, and how can I fix it better than anyone else? That's why problem solving is a superpower. Because the bigger the problem you solve, the more value you create. And the more value you create, the more success follows. So the next time you hit an obstacle, don't say, why me? Ask, what's the solution nobody's thinking about yet? How successful people reframe problems. Average thinkers get stuck in the problem. They say, this isn't fair. I don't know what to do. This is too hard. Successful people reframe immediately. They shift from problem-centric thinking to possibility thinking. Here's how they reframe. Instead of, this is a problem, they say, this is a challenge, and I grow through challenges. Instead of, I've failed, they say, I've found a way that doesn't work. What's next? Instead of, this shouldn't have happened, they ask, what's this trying to teach me? They don't get emotional about the problem. They get strategic. And that mindset keeps them moving forward, even when others quit. Action-oriented thinking versus analysis paralysis. Here's a trap many fall into, especially smart people. They overthink. They overanalyze. And they wait for the perfect plan before making a single move. That's not how successful thinkers operate. They know. Clarity comes from doing, not just thinking. Progress comes from testing, not just planning. They take what they know right now and act. Even if it's messy. Even if it's not perfect. Because imperfect action beats perfect inaction every time. The question is not, do I have the perfect strategy? It's, what's the next best step I can take today? That's how momentum is built. That's how results compound. That's how you become the person who solves, not the one who sits. Final thought. Train your brain to solve. Success is not about never facing problems. It's about becoming the kind of thinker who expects them and thrives through them. Train your mind to look for leverage, not limitations. Ask, how can I? Instead of, why can't I? Take one action when everyone else is frozen. Remember, you're either building excuses or building momentum. But you can't do both. Start today by asking, what solution can I create right now with what I already have? Because when you think in solutions, you become unstoppable. In Chapter 7, The Power of Focus, we'll explore how the most successful people protect their attention, eliminate distractions, and go all in on what matters most. Chapter 7, Focus is a superpower. We live in a world that is constantly trying to steal your attention. Notifications, emails, group chats, scrolling, urgent tasks that aren't important, and important goals that never feel urgent. But here's what the top 1% of performers know. Your ability to focus is your competitive edge. When most people are distracted, scattered, and reactive, successful people are locked in, intentional, and proactive. Let's explore how they do it, and how you can train your mind to win back control. Eliminating distractions mentally and physically. Success begins by removing what doesn't matter. Highly successful people create environments that support their focus. Physically, that might mean turning off notifications, creating a dedicated workspace, using noise-canceling headphones, scheduling do not disturb hours. Mentally, it means letting go of what you can't control, saying no to things that drain your time or energy, being ruthless about your inputs, what you watch, read, and engage with. Your environment isn't neutral. It either feeds your focus or fractures it. Top performers design their days so they can lock in when it matters most. The myth of multitasking. You've heard it before. I'm good at multitasking. But neuroscience tells us otherwise. Multitasking doesn't make you more productive. It makes you more distracted. Each time you switch between tasks, even for a second, your brain burns mental energy and loses momentum. This is called attention residue. What feels like efficiency is actually costing you focus, quality, and time. Highly successful thinkers don't multitask, they monotask. They block out deep time for writing, creating, thinking, solving. One task, one focus. No distractions. That's where the magic happens. Thinking deeply versus reacting constantly. In today's hyper-connected world, most people live in reaction mode. They check email 40 times a day. They jump from app to app. They respond to every ping, buzz, and request. But here's the secret. You don't build success by being available. You build success by being focused. Top performers carve out time for deep work, uninterrupted focus on meaningful challenges. They treat thinking like a job. They schedule blocks of time to go deep on strategy, innovation, and problem solving. Because deep thought is a rare skill, and rare skills create rare results. Mental energy and priority control. Focus isn't just about attention. It's about energy and priority. You only get a limited supply of mental energy each day. Successful people protect it like gold. Here's how. They do their highest leverage tasks first thing in the day, when energy is highest. They avoid decision fatigue by simplifying small things, like what to wear, what to eat, and when to work. They plan the night before, so they wake up and execute, not overthink. Most importantly, they don't confuse being busy with being effective. They ask themselves, what's the one thing that moves me closer to my goal today? That becomes the North Star for their attention. Everything else is secondary, or eliminated. Final thought, focus is the new IQ. We live in an age of distraction, and that means focus is rare. But that also means focus is powerful. The person who can sit and work deeply for 90 minutes without checking their phone will outperform 99% of the world. The person who can say no to noise and yes to what matters will accelerate faster than anyone else. Want to think like a highly successful person? Start here. Designed for focus. Protect your mental bandwidth. Go deep, not wide. And always move with intention. Because your ability to focus isn't just a habit. It's a superpower. Chapter 8, Thinking Big, Starting Small. One of the most misunderstood traits of highly successful people is this. They dream big, but they start small. They don't just live in fantasy. They don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect plan. They move. They act. They build, one step at a time. Big thinkers with small starting steps change the world. Let's explore how that works, and how you can apply it today. Big picture thinking as a daily habit. Highly successful people are visionaries. They constantly zoom out and ask, where is this leading me? What's the ultimate outcome I want? How will this decision ripple out 5 years from now? This is big picture thinking, and it's not a one-time vision board activity. It's a daily mindset. They write their goals down. They visualize the destination. They remind themselves why they started. This vision becomes their compass, especially on the hard days. But here's the secret. Courage to dream, discipline to act. Thinking big takes courage. It means imagining what most people think is unrealistic. It means daring to believe you're capable of more, even if the results haven't shown up yet. But dreaming big isn't enough. Discipline turns dreams into reality. Highly successful people combine the courage to dream with the discipline to do. They show up daily. They take the first awkward steps. They post the first video. They make the first cold call. They write the first rough draft. They don't let the gap between vision and reality paralyze them. They shrink the gap by acting. Why highly successful people scale after proof. Here's where most people go wrong. They try to scale before they're ready. Launching massive businesses before validating the market. Hiring teams before they've nailed the basics. Building products no one wants yet. Not successful thinkers. They start small, test quickly, validate results, then scale. They launch MVPs, minimum viable products. They gather feedback. They measure what works. And when they find traction, they double down. This is why their growth looks smart, strategic, and sustainable. They don't rush. They build with proof. Micro actions that build momentum. Want to move toward your big vision? Start with micro actions, small, repeatable wins that build confidence and progress. Examples. Write for 10 minutes a day. Reach out to one potential client. Read 5 pages of a book. Record a 60-second video. Save $5 today. These aren't glamorous, but they are compounding. And when done daily, they build massive momentum. The brain starts to associate success with movement. You stop overthinking. You start executing. And before long, those small wins stack into big outcomes. Final thought: think big, start small, move fast. So many people get stuck between vision and action. Not the successful. They dream boldly, start humbly, and move consistently. So ask yourself, what's the 10-year vision I'm building? And what's the 10-minute action I can take today? Because the distance between where you are and where you want to be, it starts with one small, brave step. And you can take it now. Chapter 9: Abundance Thinking. There are 2 core mindsets that shape every choice we make. Scarcity and abundance. Scarcity says, there's not enough. If they win, I lose. Resources are limited. Protect yours. But abundance says, there's more than enough. If they can win, so can I. Wealth is not a pie, it's a bakery. Highly successful people operate from this abundance mindset. And it changes everything. Let's explore what this looks like, and how it fuels real, lasting success. Wealth is created, not taken. One of the biggest myths in society is this. If someone gets rich, it means someone else must have lost. That's scarcity thinking. But here's the truth successful people understand. Wealth is not transferred, it's created. Money is a result of value. And value can be created in infinite ways, through ideas, products, services, solutions. When you solve a problem. When you meet a need. When you innovate something better. You create value. And when you create value, income follows. There is no limit to how much wealth can exist. Because there's no limit to human creativity, innovation, and service. And when you shift from taking to creating, you stop playing small. Collaboration over competition. Scarcity says, there's only room for one. Abundance says, Let's build something better, together. Highly successful people don't waste energy on petty competition. They collaborate. They partner. They elevate others, and grow faster as a result. They know one connection can open 10 doors. Sharing ideas sparks better ideas. Helping others win builds powerful networks of loyalty and trust. The truth is, you don't rise by tearing others down. You rise by lifting others up and growing alongside them. Think about it. Most breakthroughs come from teamwork, not isolation. So stop competing with everyone and start connecting with the right ones. Serving more equals earning more. Here's a core abundance principle. The more people you serve, the more money you make. This is the opposite of scarcity, which says, charge high, give little. But the abundance thinker says, let me give more value than anyone expects. Let me show up with generosity, not greed. Let me make such a difference that people want to pay me. This is why the most successful entrepreneurs aren't obsessed with money. They're obsessed with service. They ask, how can I help more people, more deeply, more efficiently? And the money flows as a result. The income is the byproduct. The service is the cause. The mindset of giving and value creation. Abundance thinkers give, not just to look good, but because they know. Giving is growth. They give ideas. They give encouragement. They give platforms, opportunities, and praise. And most importantly, they give value. They know that value flows back to the source that delivers it. You want more? Then give more. You want more impact? Serve more deeply. You want more income? Create more outcomes. This is the mindset of abundance. It's not naive, it's strategic. Because when you become a source of value, people don't forget it. They reward it. They refer it. And they come back to it, again and again. Final thought, play the infinite game. Scarcity sees success as a win-lose equation. Abundance sees success as win-win, or don't play. Highly successful people play the infinite game. A game where the goal is not to beat others, but to stay in the game long enough to build something meaningful. So ask yourself, am I thinking like a taker or a creator? Am I competing small or contributing big? Am I chasing scarcity or leading with abundance? Because once you shift to abundance thinking, you'll never go back. In Chapter 10, Resilience and Emotional Mastery, we'll dive into how successful people bounce back fast, regulate their emotions, and turn pressure into power. Chapter 10, Resilience and Emotional Mastery. Let's face it, the road to success isn't smooth. There will be setbacks, disappointments, unexpected punches to the gut, moments that shake your confidence and test your resolve. The question isn't whether life will throw challenges your way. The real question is, how will you respond? Highly successful people don't avoid pressure, they master it. They don't escape emotion, they regulate it. They've developed resilience and emotional mastery, the mental armor that keeps them moving when others freeze or fall. Let's break this down. Mental toughness versus emotional volatility. Most people are emotionally reactive. One bad email ruins their day. One lost sale throws them off their game. One rude comment sends them spiraling. That's emotional volatility. And it's the enemy of peak performance. Highly successful people, on the other hand, develop mental toughness. They feel everything, but they're not ruled by their feelings. They know. Emotions are signals, not commands. Not every feeling needs a reaction. Stability is a choice, not a personality trait. This doesn't mean being emotionless. It means being anchored, even in the storm. Responding, not reacting. There's a split second between what happens and how you respond. That moment, that tiny pause, is where mastery lives. Most people react instantly and emotionally. Snap decisions. Angry replies. Panic moves. But successful people pause. They take a breath. They observe what they feel, and then they choose their next move. They ask, what outcome do I want here? What version of me needs to show up? What's the smartest response, not just the loudest? That's emotional maturity. And it gives them a competitive edge in business, leadership, and life. Developing calm under pressure. Pressure doesn't create weakness, it reveals training. Highly successful people train for pressure. They expose themselves to discomfort on purpose. Cold showers. Tough workouts. Public speaking. Difficult conversations. Why? Because when you get comfortable being uncomfortable, pressure becomes fuel, not fear. They also use grounding tools. Deep breathing. Visualization. Meditation. Journaling under stress. And above all, they prepare. They anticipate the pressure points and rehearse their mindset in advance. Success isn't just about staying calm when things go right. It's about staying centered when everything goes wrong. Thinking patterns that fuel bounce-back ability. Resilience is a mindset. It's not about having zero struggle, it's about how quickly you recover. Successful people use specific thinking patterns that help them bounce back fast. 1. Reframe failure. This isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. 2. Zoom out. Will this still matter in 5 weeks? 5 months? 5 years? 3. Shift focus to what's controllable. What can I do right now? 4. Gratitude under fire. What's one thing I'm still grateful for even now? These thoughts aren't automatic, they're trained. And over time, they become habits that keep the mind resilient and resourceful. Resilience isn't just about strength. It's about flexibility, the ability to bend, not break. Final thought: become the calm in the storm. We admire the people who stay cool under pressure. But what we're really seeing is discipline, practice, emotional intelligence, mental leadership. Highly successful people lead themselves first, especially when it's hard. So ask yourself, where do I need to respond more and react less? How can I train for emotional pressure today, not just hope I'll survive it tomorrow? What story am I telling myself about this challenge, and can I rewrite it? Because when you master your emotions, you master your momentum. And when you build resilience, you become unstoppable. Chapter 11: Continuous Growth and Self-Investment. There's a common thread among highly successful people. They never stop learning. They never stop growing. They never stop investing in themselves. Because they understand a simple truth. You are your greatest asset. Not your business. Not your bank account. Not your brand. You. And the moment you stop growing, everything around you starts slowing. Let's explore the mindset of continuous growth and how successful people turn learning into a lifestyle. Lifelong learning mindset. Highly successful people view education as a lifelong process, not a one-time phase. They don't just say, "I already know that." They ask, "How can I go deeper? What's the next level?" Whether they're 25 or 65, they're still students. Not just of their industry, but of life, leadership, human nature, and themselves. They block out time to read, listen to audiobooks, watch documentaries, take courses, reflect and journal. Because for them, learning isn't an obligation, it's an advantage. Reading, mentorship, and feedback loops. Want to grow faster? Learn smarter? Successful people use 3 powerful growth tools. 1. Reading. Reading gives you access to decades of knowledge in hours. It sharpens your thinking, expands your vocabulary, and gives you mental models to solve problems others can't. Leaders are readers, and it's not a cliché. It's a practice. 2. Mentorship. Mentors collapse time. They help you avoid rookie mistakes, see blind spots, and accelerate progress. And here's the thing, mentors don't have to be in person. They can be authors, YouTubers, podcasters, or a single wise friend. 3. Feedback loops. Growth doesn't come from repetition, it comes from reflection. Top performers ask, "What worked? What didn't? What can I adjust?" Feedback isn't criticism, it's data. And successful people use it to evolve faster. Why successful people invest in brains before businesses. Here's what most people get backward. They try to grow a business before they grow their mind. But the top 1%? They invest in their skills, thinking, and emotional intelligence first. Before they spend money on ads, they spend money on books. Before they upgrade their logo, they upgrade their leadership. Before they launch a company, they develop the character to sustain it. Because they know, if I become a high-value person, I'll always attract high-value opportunities. Business follows mindset. Money follows value. And value comes from within. Thinking in terms of skills and systems. Highly successful people think in skills, not just results. They don't ask, how do I make $10,000 this month? They ask, what skill will make me $10,000 a month for the rest of my life? They know that skills compound. And once you have them, no one can take them away. Some of the highest ROI skills they build include communication, writing, sales, emotional regulation, public speaking, system building, leadership. And they don't just learn, they build systems around their learning. They have routines, workflows, and environments that make growth automatic. They don't leave success to chance, they engineer it. Final thought, you are the first investment. There will always be things to buy. Tools, gadgets, services, teams. But the best return you'll ever get is on you. So ask yourself, what's the next skill I need to grow? What's the next book I need to read? Who can I learn from this month? Where can I reinvest, not in stuff, but in self? Because success isn't something you chase. It's something you become, one level of growth at a time. Chapter 12, Thinking and Leverage. Here's a secret of the highly successful. They don't succeed by doing more. They succeed by leveraging better. They don't hustle harder. They think smarter. They don't try to outwork everyone. They find the tools, systems, and people who can help them multiply their impact. That's what leverage is. Doing less of the manual, and more of the meaningful. Let's explore how successful people use time, tools, teams, and technology to build exponential momentum. Time, tools, teams, and tech. These are the 4 core assets highly successful people learn to leverage. 1. Time. Time is your most limited asset. You can't create more hours, but you can extract more value per hour. Top performers structure their day around high-leverage activities. Thinking, decision-making, creating, leading. They protect their calendar like their life depends on it, because it does. 2. Tools. Instead of doing everything manually, successful people use tools to save time and automate repetitive tasks. Think Calendly for scheduling, Zapier for automation, Canva for design, AI for writing or research, Notion or Trello for organization. Every tool is a way to buy back your energy and shift it to higher value work. 3. Teams. Highly successful people don't try to do it all alone. They delegate. They collaborate. They hire help. Because they know their time is better spent on strategy, not stuck in tasks. Whether it's a virtual assistant, a freelance editor, or a business partner, they ask, who can do this better, faster, or cheaper than I can? That's leverage. 4. Technology. From automation to analytics to artificial intelligence, the most successful minds use tech as an amplifier. They don't fear innovation. They ride it. Whether it's scaling an online course, launching digital products, or automating customer service, technology gives them scale. Not just more work done, but more reach, more speed, more freedom. Successful people multiply impact, not effort. The average person thinks in terms of addition. How can I do more? But successful people think in terms of multiplication. How can I get 10x results without 10x effort? They ask. Can this be automated? Can someone else do this better? Is this the best use of my unique strengths? They stop being the bottleneck and start being the designer of scalable systems. They don't measure how busy they are. They measure how leveraged they are. Delegation, automation, and compounding value. Let's look at 3 leverage multipliers. 1. Delegation. Successful people don't see delegation as weakness. They see it as leadership. They hand off what drains them, so they can double down on what drives results. 2. Automation. If a task is repeated often, they automate it. Welcome emails, social media scheduling, payment systems, reminders and workflows. Set it once. Let it run. Reclaim your time. 3. Compounding value. Highly successful people build assets. Things that work for them even when they're not working. Think: a YouTube video that keeps earning, an email list that keeps growing, a digital product that sells 24/7, a team that executes even when you're sleeping. This is how they create time freedom and wealth freedom, through compounding systems, not constant hustle. Mindset shift, from worker to architect. This is the real shift. From being the worker to becoming the architect. Workers ask, "How can I get it done?" Architects ask, "How can I design a system that gets it done, with or without me?" This mindset turns you from a doer into a builder. From operator to owner. From overwhelmed to in control. It's not about doing more. It's about thinking higher. Final thought: leverage is leadership. So here's your challenge. Stop asking, "How can I do more?" Start asking, "How can I multiply?" Think in systems, not sprints. Assets, not tasks. Leverage, not labor. Because the most successful people don't just work harder. They build smarter. And that's how you scale your time, income, and impact. Chapter 13: Thinking like a leader, not a follower. Here's the truth. You don't need a title to be a leader. You don't need a team, a company, or a corner office. What you need is a way of thinking. Leadership starts in the mind. It's about how you view yourself, others, responsibility, and the future. Highly successful people think like leaders, even before the world recognizes them as such. Let's break down what that really means. Vision casting and influence. Leaders are visionaries. They see what isn't there yet. They imagine what's possible. And they have the courage to say, "Let's go there." While others focus on problems, leaders focus on possibilities. They paint pictures of a better future and invite others to believe in it. Whether they're building a business, raising a family, or launching a movement, they lead with vision. And that vision isn't just for them, it's a call to elevate everyone around them. That's the heart of leadership. Influence, not control. Inspiration, not intimidation. Thinking in service, not self. Leaders don't think, "How do I win?" They ask, "How can I help others win?" True leadership is rooted in service. Highly successful people are driven by mission, not ego. They think, "What does my team need to thrive? How can I solve real problems? Who will benefit from this idea?" They build value for others, and trust that their reward will follow. This shift from me to we transforms how you think, act, and lead. Because in the long run, the people who serve the most influence the most. Decision responsibility, not consensus seeking. Followers wait to be told what to do. Leaders decide what must be done. Highly successful people don't wait for perfect approval. They take responsibility for making decisions, even hard ones. They don't obsess over group consensus. They ask, "What's the right thing to do here? What will serve the vision? What's my gut and data telling me?" Then they commit. Leadership isn't about being popular. It's about being clear, courageous, and accountable. The world doesn't need more people pleasers. It needs more decision makers with integrity. How leaders think about people and purpose. Highly successful leaders don't view people as tools. They see people as partners in purpose. They lead with empathy and understanding. They care about who is on the journey with them, not just what they're building. They think, What's their story? How can I unlock their potential? How do I help this person grow? And when it comes to purpose? Leaders don't chase money or fame as their North Star. They ask, what am I building that's bigger than me? Because the most successful lives are fueled by meaning, not just metrics. Purpose drives perseverance. And people make that purpose real. Final thought. Step into the mental role of leadership. You don't need to be in charge to start leading. You just need to change how you think. Stop waiting for permission. Stop playing small. Start thinking like a leader. Set the vision. Serve others. Own the decisions. Focus on purpose. Because leadership isn't a destination. It's a mindset, and it begins now. In Chapter 14, The Power of Belief, we'll explore the inner voice that shapes all success, how belief becomes a blueprint for behavior, and why protecting it is the key to thinking like the top 1%. Chapter 14, The Power of Belief. Before a single goal is achieved, before a business succeeds, before any dream becomes reality, there's something else that must come first. Belief. Highly successful people don't just think differently, they believe differently. They believe it's possible. It's worth it. They are capable, even before they have proof. Belief isn't wishful thinking. It's the internal engine that powers everything else. Let's explore how to think with unshakable belief, the kind that makes success inevitable. Belief is the blueprint for behavior. Everything you do starts with what you believe about yourself. If you believe you're not smart enough, you'll avoid challenges. If you believe money is evil, you'll subconsciously push it away. If you believe success is for other people, you'll stay small, even when opportunity knocks. But if you believe, I'm resourceful, I can figure this out, I deserve this, you start to take different actions. Belief doesn't just shape your thoughts. It shapes your habits, your courage, and your future. How beliefs are formed and rewired. Our core beliefs are often shaped early, by parents, teachers, experiences, and culture. And many of them are unconscious. Money doesn't grow on trees. Don't get your hopes up. Be realistic. These sound harmless, but they quietly build a glass ceiling in your mind. Highly successful people challenge these beliefs. They don't just accept what they were told, they investigate it. They ask, is this true, or just familiar? Who told me this, and are they living the life I want? What new belief would serve my next level? Then they repeat that new belief, until it sticks. Because beliefs aren't fixed. They're trainable. Daily language, belief and action. Listen to how successful people talk, you'll hear their beliefs. They say, there's always a way. Obstacles are part of the game. This is hard, and I'm built for it. If not me, who? Belief shows up in language. So check yours. Do you speak like a victim, or a visionary? Are your words powered by fear, or by faith? Do you talk about limitations, or solutions? Change your words, and you'll start to change your belief. Change your belief, and everything follows. Protecting belief from negativity and doubt. Belief is powerful, but fragile. It needs to be protected from toxic people, negative environments, your own self-doubt. That's why highly successful people are selective about what they consume, who they hang around, and what they tolerate. They curate their mental diet, books, podcasts, mentors, affirmations. They feed their faith, not their fear. You have to guard your belief like a flame in the wind. Because when belief fades, action dies. But when belief burns strong, action becomes unstoppable. Final thought: believe before the breakthrough. Every success story begins with someone who believed before it made sense. They believed before they had credentials, before they had investors, before they had a single customer, follower, or paycheck. And that belief gave them the permission to start. So ask yourself, what belief is holding me back right now? What would I do today if I fully believed in myself? What story do I want to replace the old one with? Because once your belief changes, your identity changes. And once your identity changes, your results can't help but follow. Chapter 15: Building a Legacy Mindset. Let's pause and ask a question most people never do. What will I be remembered for? Not just how much money you made, or how many followers you gained, or what titles you held, but the lives you touched, the ripple effects you created, the values you passed on. This is what highly successful people think about, not just success in the moment, but significance over a lifetime. They think in legacy, thinking beyond money and status. Let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with wanting wealth, growth, and recognition. But for the truly successful, those things aren't the goal, they're the byproducts of something deeper. They ask, what kind of example am I setting? How am I improving the world, not just my world? If my life was a message, what would it say? Because they know. Status fades. Money comes and goes. But legacy? Legacy echoes. It's the emotional imprint you leave on people and places long after you're gone. Impact, contribution, and legacy. Legacy is about contribution. It's about using your gifts to serve others. Not someday, but today. Highly successful people think, how can I make someone's life better, even in a small way? Where can I create impact that outlives my effort? What problem am I uniquely called to solve? They write books. They mentor others. They build businesses that uplift. They teach, give, share, and inspire. They're not just climbing a ladder, they're leaving breadcrumbs behind. So others can climb too. The 100-year lens. Here's something powerful. The most successful people think in generations. They use what we call the 100-year lens. They ask, if someone found my work 100 years from now, what would it teach them? Will my choices today still matter decades from now? Am I building something that lasts, or something that trends? This kind of thinking stretches your vision. It elevates your actions. It forces you to align with something bigger than you. When you use the 100-year lens, you stop chasing likes. And you start creating legacy-level work. What they want to be remembered for, and how that guides action. Highly successful people live on purpose because they're clear about their end goal. They don't want to be remembered as just rich or famous. They want to be remembered as the one who lifted others, the one who stood for something, the one who made people feel seen, heard, and empowered. That clarity guides their daily actions. What they say yes to, what they say no to, where they spend time, how they treat people. Their legacy mindset shapes their present behavior. Because they're not just building income. They're building something that matters. Final thought, your legacy starts now. You don't have to wait until you're older, richer, or more successful to build a legacy. Every choice you make, every person you encourage, every bit of value you put into the world, that's legacy in motion. So ask yourself, what do I want my life to stand for? What kind of ripple do I want to leave behind? Am I creating something that will outlast me? Because you can. And the moment you start thinking beyond yourself is the moment you begin living like the top 1%. Chapter 16: Integration and Daily Mental Habits. You've come a long way. You've explored the mindsets, beliefs, strategies, and habits of highly successful people. But now comes the most important part: integration. Because knowledge is potential power, but only action makes it real. This chapter is all about turning ideas into identity, and identity into daily practice. Summary of Success Thinking Principles. Let's briefly recap what you've learned. 1. Mindset shapes success, and it can be trained. 2. Clarity is power. Know what you want and why. 3. Long-term thinking wins. Compound consistency over chaos. 4. Leaders think differently. They serve, decide, and take responsibility. 5. Belief precedes breakthrough. What you believe drives what you do. 6. Legacy matters. Think beyond today and build something that lasts. These aren't just motivational slogans, they are the mental blueprints of the top 1%. And they only become yours when they're practiced daily. Daily habits that reinforce mindset. Highly successful people don't leave their mindset to chance. They condition it. Every day. Here are 5 daily habits to help you integrate what you've learned. 1. Morning mindset check. Start the day with intentional thoughts. Who am I becoming today? What matters most? What's my number one goal? 2. Visualization and mental rehearsal. Close your eyes and imagine success in vivid detail. Your brain doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. It just strengthens the pathways you fire. 3. Gratitude plus growth journaling. Write down what you're thankful for, what you learned today, how you stretched your thinking. 4. Daily learning input. Read or listen to something that feeds your mind, even 10 minutes counts. 5. Evening reflection and reset. Before bed, ask, what did I think well today? Where did I slip into fear or smallness? How can I lead better tomorrow? These simple habits create mental momentum. And over time, they rewire who you are. The power of questions and self-reflection. Success isn't just about answers, it's about asking the right questions. Questions shape focus. And focus shapes thought. Here are a few questions successful thinkers ask themselves daily. What would the best version of me do right now? Is this action aligned with my purpose? What's the opportunity inside this obstacle? Am I thinking from fear or from future? Questions like these don't just solve problems, they reshape perspective. Make questioning yourself a habit, not in doubt, but in depth. Creating your own mental operating system. You run your day based on how you think. So why not design a mental operating system that runs on purpose? Here's how to build yours. 1. Core beliefs. What do you choose to believe about yourself, success, and the world? 2. Thinking filters. How do you evaluate opportunities, setbacks, and decisions? 3. Daily mental rules. What standards will you hold your thinking to? Examples. I choose growth over comfort. I am resourceful, not stuck. Everything is figure-out-able. This becomes your mental default mode. And it allows you to show up strong, even under pressure. Final inspiration: think it, believe it, build it. If there's one truth to take with you, it's this. Your future is not built by chance, it's built by how you think. So think big. Think with purpose. Think like a leader. Think from belief, not fear. And think daily, because transformation happens bit by bit, thought by thought. You now have the tools, the mindset, the questions, the framework. What comes next is you. Think it. Believe it. Build it. And when you do, you won't just succeed. You'll inspire others to do the same. Conclusion: your 30-day thinking transformation. You've reached the end of this audiobook. But the truth is, you're just getting started. Knowledge alone doesn't change your life. Thinking differently does. And acting on those thoughts, every single day, is how transformation takes root. So let's turn this inspiration into implementation. Your next 30 days, a thinking transformation challenge. Starting tomorrow, and for the next 30 days, I invite you to commit to this simple but powerful challenge. 1 mindset. Every day. 30 days. Here's how it works. 1. Pick one mindset from this audiobook each morning. It could be, clarity is power. I lead with service. Or, I think in solutions, not excuses. 2. Write it down. Say it out loud. Reflect on it. Make that one idea your lens for the day. 3. Take at least one action in alignment with that mindset. Small or big, doesn't matter. What matters is intentionality. 4. Journal your progress. Capture your thoughts, wins, lessons, and shifts in belief. At the end of 30 days, you'll notice something extraordinary. your identity will begin to shift. You'll feel more focused, more confident, more in control. You won't just think like highly successful people, you'll act like one. Because change doesn't happen from the outside in. It happens from the inside out. Share the audiobook with someone driven. If this audiobook made a difference for you, imagine what it could do for someone else. Send it to a friend chasing big goals, a colleague building something meaningful, a family member who's ready for a mindset upgrade. When you share success thinking, you multiply it. Let's build a ripple effect of empowered minds, bold actions, and powerful purpose. Subscribe for more audiobooks like this. This is just one chapter in a much bigger journey. If you enjoyed this audiobook and want more like it, more mindset, more strategy, more success stories, hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, Book on Audio TV. That way, you'll never miss the next life-changing lesson. Whether it's business, personal growth, or mental mastery, we've got you covered. Final words: success begins in the mind. Let's bring it all back to one truth. Your thoughts shape your future. The habits you build, the beliefs you protect, the questions you ask, the identity you choose. It all starts up here, in your mind. If you want new results, you need new thinking. So don't wait. Think it. Believe it. Build it. This is your time. This is your next level. And it starts with how you think, starting now. Thank you for listening to How to Think Like Highly Successful People, brought to you by Book on Audio TV. If this impacted you, share it, review it, live it, and remember, success isn't something you chase. It's something you become.